you explain to us, for those that don't know, how does the point system work in the MLS?
3 points for a win, 1 for a draw. You want to accumulate the simple formula throughout the history of the league, or I think in soccer around the world. Win your home games, and if you can draw on the road, you're always satisfied with that. It's hard to win on the road in MLS, so if you can sneak a few points away or a couple of victories, it's not surprising to see even top-level teams that might win the title might only win 4 or 5 games on the road during the course of a regular season. But if you win your home games and you're heavily sided on taking care of things on your home side, you're usually going to be in good shape.
Why are draws dangerous to a team's overall success? There's been a lot of conversation specifically about Columbus getting out of this draw final at the end of the match.
Yeah, I think from that perspective, when you're playing so well, like the Crew often do, and they've created all these chances, the ability to not finish them off, and then to get the killer goal or to get the insurance goal, the goal that makes the difference to win the game. And there goes the question again. The summer transfer window's coming up. They've been patient. They've got a really good team. I think if you add an elite level player like you had with Cucho, or find the next guy, which isn't easy to do, by the way, and they want someone who's going to fit in that locker room, then that turns draws into wins. It's the most frustrating thing in the world when you feel like you've played well enough, and any team, not just Columbus can say this, where you feel you've played well enough, but you don't have the fruits of your labor looking back at the standings if you finish with, say, 7 or 8 draws that could have been at least 3 or 4 wins in a couple of occasions. Draws are okay. I mean, they're bound to happen. Heavy rotation with all these games and fixtures. This May has been crazy for the league. Open Cup, now you've got midweek games. You're going into a scenario now where you're losing guys for international call-ups coming into the June window. It's just so heavy. So you rotate players. They're naturally going to happen. But I think ultimately for the best teams, you want to make sure that when you're in the back half of the year, those draws that maybe you had earlier in the season become wins by making the plays that make the difference in a game. And how do you do that? Well, in this league, you find a guy who's a match winner who's going to make the difference. And I think that's the next step for Columbus.
In this year's Hell is Real game, which ended in a draw, what was it like for the fans?
I think ultimately you always want your team to win, but I remember the first Hell is Real, which was in 2019, and Cincinnati fans had come up to old historic Crew Stadium, and they had taken a 2-0 lead, and the wave of emotion that goes throughout 90 minutes. A 2-0 lead in soccer these days is much like a 2-0 lead in hockey. It can be overcome. And the Crew came back in that game to tie. So ultimately, if you're in a situation like that, where you rally back, then for the team that comes back to tie, it could feel like much more. And for the team that has the lead, it feels like they've lost something in that. So it doesn't necessarily feel like it was a point earned, more so a couple of points lost. So I think the waves of emotions that we see throughout a game with the fan base, and this is a rivalry that's just getting going. It's just spectacular games every time they seem to play. And I think for Columbus and Cincinnati right now and where they are in terms of their respective clubs and how successful they are, I think you get a little bit more of a nail biter. It's not as openly flowing in terms of the gameplay, but that doesn't mean they're any less competitive. And I think right now that rivalry, Hell is Real, but it's got the potential to be fantastic based off of the coaches, the players right now, and the fan bases. I think the structure with which they play, Kevin Danke and Evander, have been fantastic, and those two have found a synergy in the attack. So I think right now they're neck and neck. You could flip a coin, and I think Columbus was the better team in that game. They created a lot of chances. Cincinnati defended admirably after going up a goal in that game. So there's a lot to like, I think, if you're fans of both clubs and where they sit right now in the hierarchy of the Eastern Conference. And it's setting up for a big summer and second half, I think, for both teams.
Before the season, we talked about the departures of Cucho Hernandez and Christian Ramirez, and you said, you know what? The Columbus Crew is the Columbus Crew, even without them. Do you still believe that?
I do. I think, again, they're a great team. They're a really good team. Let's go there. If they're going to get to great, I think the thing about this league right now and the way the rosters are still set up, where players like a Messi or the guys who are in the DP caliber, Cincinnati has Evander and Danke. Columbus lost a lot in terms of their scoring, and yet the coaching, the system has been sublime in terms of how they play game in and game out. Now, they lost just their second game of the season this past weekend against Charlotte. They dominated that Miami game, which they lost. I think they've controlled 90% of the games that they're in. But all these chances they create, this is where a player like Cucho, who last year just under 30 goal contributions, that makes the difference. You still need that caliber of a player, one that you can go and pay above and beyond your salary limits on the roster. You get 3 of those, and you can break them up in different factions, whether they're senior DPs or under 22 players, and not to go down the Byzantine structure of the roster. But those guys make the difference, and you need that type of a player. I think if Columbus is going to win a trophy, which they're very capable of, they need that caliber of a player, and they're looking. And I think they'll add a big piece in the summer. And that's really what's potentially holding them back right now from being even better than what they are.
And when is that trading deadline?
The summer transfer window, I believe, opens at the end of June, the final week of June, and then goes till the first week in August. So they've got about a month and a half to handle that. And it's in line with the transfer window that's open for a lot of the rest of the world, but those teams are getting over in continental Europe, getting their season started. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes available and who they've been keeping an eye on, because everyone was wondering if they would make that move at the end of the first transfer window, because there's 2 windows in the course of an MLS season. But now you're forced to make sure you get that player right, and the tougher part about it is getting him acclimated in shorter amount of games, because you didn't get him in the first window, so there's less time, and you need to hit the ground running because it's the stretch run of the season.
Well, we will talk again in August after that window closes and see where both teams are. And there is more Ohio Sports Magazine straight ahead on the Ohio News Network.
Man once shaved Timmy's leg live on the air. Tune in weekdays at 3 to see what else they'll shave. Wait, what else they'll shave? Who the hell wants to listen to that?
Common Man and Timmy, smooth as silk.
Okay, The Fan.
We can come the day you call us.
We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
Brian, I've been meaning to ask you something.
Okay, ask away.
Sometimes when we're talking, I hear a little sparkling sound.
Is it when one of us says, all you have to do is point?
There it is. Did you hear that?
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic? Like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Feeling stressed or overwhelmed? Not sure how to get the mental health help you need? We've got your back. Call the Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office at 855-438-6442. We'll help you figure out what mental health benefits may be in your health plan. No more confusion, just the support you deserve. Call the Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office at 855-438-6442.
Don't miss the Reds going against the Diamondbacks June 6th through the 8th in a 3-game series at GABP. Enjoy another post-game fireworks show on Friday, presented by PNC. Come back on Saturday when fans in attendance receive a Tyler Stevenson City Connect bobblehead thanks to St. Elizabeth Healthcare while supplies last. Wrap up the weekend Sunday with family and friends and some afternoon baseball. Get your tickets now at reds.com/tickets.
Legend has it, underneath the NJM insurance offices lies a mysterious room of long-forgotten, moldy mascot memorabilia. Often pitched by ad agencies, always rejected by NJM. Is it real? We may never know. But what is real is NJM's dedication to doing what's right for their customers. Astoundingly, they're proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Learn more at njm.com.
Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, as Care grew over the years, you had many opportunities to sell Care to one of the big conglomerates that are buying companies all over Central Ohio. So tell our customers why you decided to keep Care in the family.
After talking about Care's values for over 30 years, I couldn't bear the thought of Care becoming the kind of company I was warning our customers about. I know the two of you will continue to treat our customers as I would, with honesty and integrity.
We will, Dad. In 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for Ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
What John Smiley, Chairman and CEO, wants you to know about First Bank of Central Ohio.
Our competitive advantage is the number of years we've been in Central Ohio and the fact that we're able to make decisions here locally that make sense for the client. At the end of the day, it's the ability for us to say, okay, what can we do to make your banking easier for you?
Experience what it's like to be first at fbcentralohio.com. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
No hot takes, no dancing, plenty of stupid. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Now back to Ohio Sports Magazine on the Ohio News Network. Once again, here's Jay Fox.
Joining us now on Ohio Sports Magazine is longtime ESPN reporter Holly Rowe. But today, she's here in a special role. She's the ambassador for the All-State NACDA Good Works Team, which is an initiative that honors college athletes making a difference far beyond the game. Holly, how are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having me today. Life is good. I'm just packing, getting ready to take a flight to the Women's College World Series for softball today. So life is good.
All right. Well, before we get to softball, let's talk a little bit about what this initiative is. How do these college athletes make that difference far beyond the game? What are we talking about?
Right. So you're in Ohio, and our captain of the All-State NACDA Good Works team this spring is a young woman from Cleveland named Jamie Morris. And when she was in high school, her mother was diagnosed with cancer. And, you know, that helpless feeling when you get a diagnosis like that, she thought, what can I do? And so she started a golf tournament, Hit for Hope, and it has raised, she had a small goal to raise maybe $5,000. She has now raised over $300,000. And she partners with the hospital there in Cleveland to make sure that they're putting money towards research, that they are aiding and helping families who might need help getting loved ones to treatment with transportation needs. And so I just love that this young woman turned what could have been kind of a devastating situation for their family. She has turned it into hope for other families like hers. And she's also a competitive player for the Penn State golf team, you know, a student athlete. And I've spent my life telling stories about student athletes, and I just think it's wonderful for your Ohio community to know you have such an incredible young woman there who has raised all this money for cancer as she continues to golf. She just graduated from Penn State and really shine. I think that's important.
Now, Jamie's story is personal to you as well. How did it affect you to hear everything that she did?
Well, it was really emotional. You know, as you know, I'm a stage 4 metastatic cancer survivor myself. I had, really awful couple of years where I had inoperable tumors in my lungs, and the doctors were kind of like, we're not sure, how much time you've got. And I was very lucky. I got on an immunotherapy program that was not even FDA approved. It was a clinical trial, and it has helped save my life. And so I got to go in. Jamie was out golfing on a golf course there in Cleveland, and we ran out of the bushes and surprised her and told her that she was named the team captain for the spring and that she would get a donation to her charity and foundation. And her mom was there with me, Dana, who was the one who kind of inspired all of this with her cancer diagnosis. And so, me and her mom, Dana, we're crying in the bushes and hugging and, comparing our war stories of going through cancer. And, it's never a club that you want to be in. It's never a team that you want to be on to be a cancer survivor or patient. But I love that we can all stick together and get through this together and laugh together and cry together. And I definitely did that with Jamie and her family last week when we surprised her with the news that she was the team captain for the spring All-State NACTA Good Works team.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, women's sports is on absolute fire right now. We're talking women's basketball. We're talking women's soccer. We're talking professional volleyball. And, of course, we're right in the middle of the Women's College World Series. What do you think has changed to make women's sports just rise to the top of mental awareness among all sports fans lately?
Yeah, it's a pretty simple answer to me. Exposure is, they've been put on major networks. I'm really proud of my company, ABC and ESPN. We started putting women's gymnastics, women's softball. I did the very first ever women's softball game on ABC 3 years ago at the University of Oklahoma. And I think having it on mainstream TV where people aren't paying for cable necessarily, it's just, you're flipping through your channels and you might stumble across women's gymnastics and you're like, oh my gosh, these women are incredible. We've seen them put volleyball on mainstream ABC channels. So I just think exposure and having the platforms that these women have really deserved all these years, and they're finally getting it now. And then the other thing I will say is social media has really changed women's sports. You get to decide what you click on, who you follow, what heart button or emoji you push. And we are seeing so many people follow female athletes. I thought it was very interesting. During March Madness, we had this graphic of the top earners for NIL and the top followers, like who had the most followers in all of March Madness. And 4 out of the top 5 athletes were women. Paige Beckers, the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft. She was even rated higher than Cooper Flagg, who will likely be the number 1 draft pick for Duke men's basketball. So it's kind of like a democracy. Fans get a vote on what they like, and they're showing us they like and they want women's sports. And I think that the networks are listening and the advertisers are listening and giving fans what they want.
All right. Well, we want to thank you, Holly, for being with us today. And there is more Ohio Sports Magazine straight ahead on the Ohio News Network.
Did you know 38% of Ohio's teenagers have spent money on gambling in video and online games? Items like mystery boxes, skins, and spin to win mimic gambling, putting children at a higher risk of experiencing a gambling disorder as an adult. So get in the know about youth gambling and start the conversation with discussion guides, parent resources, and more at ChangeTheGameOhio.org. That's ChangeTheGameOhio.org.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the day's news from across the state.
ONN affiliate WBNS TV reports.
Haley Kirby reporting in downtown Toledo.
From the State House, Kevin Landers.
ONN Canton. ONN affiliate WKYC TV in Cleveland explains.
In Marietta, Brett Wharf, ONN News.
Emma Henderson in Genoa.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Listen at ONNradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts from the Ohio News Network.
This is the sound of a popular American motorcycle. It's the sound of freedom, the open road, really good times. And this is what it sounds like with a drunk guy in it. How do you like the sound of that? Cops are cracking down on drunk motorcycle riders. If you ride drunk, you will get caught and you will get arrested. Drunk riding, over the limit, under arrest. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Transportation.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Do you want a job that is flexible, secure, and fun? It also offers excellent pay and is ranked as one of the best jobs in America, too. I'm talking about being a dental hygienist. And all you have to do is complete a 2-year program after high school. Visit ODA.org to learn more and to start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
Have you experienced foot or ankle pain during or after sports, running, or exercising at the gym? Nagging aches in your foot or ankle that won't go away? Podiatric physicians can provide you with important foot care solutions, shoe inserts, or show you how to support your feet and ankles so you're able to compete or exercise comfortably. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and have been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Now back to Ohio Sports Magazine on the Ohio News Network. Once again, here's Jay Fox.
I'm Jay Fox, and this is Ohio Sports Magazine. Jim Clemens is a legend. He's a former Ohio State basketball captain, OSU and Ohio Basketball Hall of Famer, NBA champion player and coach, and former Cleveland Cavalier. ONN Skip Mossick had a chance to catch up with Jim.
Well, Jim, so much to get into. Let's begin with your senior season in 1971 at Ohio State. You're Big Ten champions. You made it all the way to the regional finals, a tough overtime loss to Western Kentucky. And even today, you still hear people wondering what that team might have done had it matched up with the Giant in UCLA. How good was your team that year?
Well, we started off kind of shaky. But as the season progressed and we got to know each other basketball-wise and accepted, and I think here's the big thing, we accepted our roles on the team in order to be successful. So when the guys did that, because they were, we had a lot of sophomores and guys who wanted to prove that they were, worthy to be there. But basketball is a team sport, and once people accept their roles on the team and see that this is what to do, we got better, and that took us to, let's say, the overtime loss, unfortunately, to Western Kentucky.
Jim, people don't understand just how small the NCAA field was back in those days. You had to be special just to make the tournament.
Well, that was my last hurrah, so to speak, and I had not gotten an opportunity to play in the NCAA. So one of my dreams was to be an NCAA champion, and unfortunately, I still haven't attained that dream. But it was tough. The Big Ten was a good league, and I enjoyed playing it. And the competition was rugged and ferocious.
Well, Jim, you grew up in Columbus. You won a high school state championship at Linden McKinley. Was it always going to be Ohio State for you, or were there other schools maybe in play?
Well, Ohio State was my only Big Ten offer, and people, those who have good memories. Well, we were state champions, and our tallest player was 6'4". And so in those days, 6'4", and I started off as a forward, then I played guard, and then I played center. I was a 6'4", 165-pound basketball player. We were well coached, but certainly we didn't scare anyone with our height and our prowess on the basketball floor. But we were well coached, and I enjoyed playing. And Fred and I finally got together, and I understood what he was looking for in me as a player, and my mother, long story short, my mother had never seen me play, didn't see me play high school basketball. She was superstitious. So I finally realized this is an opportunity for me to play in front of my mother, my family, my friends. I accepted that challenge.
Well, Jim, after your time at Ohio State, you were drafted by the Lakers in 71. You won an NBA title your rookie year in 71-72 on an unbelievably talented team. What was it like for you as a rookie walking into the gym with guys like Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, and Wilt Chamberlain?
Well, I was certainly starstruck on one side of the coin, but on the other, I had to realize I was there for a reason, and I didn't have, my chest wasn't stuck up because I was here to, once again, to learn basketball, understand what I can do and could do to help the team. I had a wonderful my coaching staff of head coach Bill Sharman and assistant coach of Casey Jones. See, I've been a blessed individual my entire basketball career. So with people like that surrounding me and talking to me daily and teaching me, and me, once again, I hope I was a willing learner because I didn't like losing, and that was one of the things that I'll always remember and be thankful for.
Well, after that championship season, Jim, you were traded to the Cavaliers, who, let's face it, weren't very good at the time. But, a couple of years later in 75-76, part of the miracle of Richfield, which was really a franchise highlight for that organization for a long time. What was the rebuild prior to that season like, and could you as a player maybe even see it coming?
Well, we were the laughingstocks of the league my first couple of years there. But once again, when I was traded to the Cavaliers, I was blessed once again. Another player by the name of Lenny Wilkins also came, and Lenny was once again a mentor of mine because he was not only left-handed, he was a wonderful person, and he taught me the nuances of being a point guard and a true leader on the basketball team. So I just had not my way was paid, but I had good teachers and solid individuals, not just basketball players, people that you wanted your sons to be like. If you had a big brother, these are the character people that I had in my lifetime.
Well, Jim, after another trade in the late 70s, you wound up becoming teammates on the Knicks with Phil Jackson, and I know that relationship evolved into a very long and very successful coaching career. We could talk for hours about your championship seasons with the Bulls and the Lakers, but was it challenging? I've always wanted to know this. Was it challenging to coach superstars like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, just to name a couple? And were players of that magnitude even open to coaching?
Well, once again, their attitude and their approach to the game. Along with Phil came another wonderful coach by the name of Tex Winter. And Tex was a wonderful teacher, and he taught the game, taught a team game, which again fell right in line with my high school history with Vince Ciccarella and my college career with Fred Taylor. Once again, we always talked about team, and even though we had some dynamic personalities, our ability to for the most part, put aside our personal wants and egos, and for the betterment of the team, that was the blueprint of I think our success, and the willingness to play together as a team helped us to the history books and the basketball and those guys, their Hall of Fames and all that followed them and richly deserved. But they once again we began to understand the true meaning of teamwork and camaraderie.
Ohio State Hall of Famer, Ohio Basketball Hall of Famer, former Ohio State assistant coach, and one of only a few, I'm sure, to literally have an NBA championship ring for all 10 fingers. Jim Clemens, thanks so much for the visit, okay?
Sure enough.
We'll be back with more Ohio Sports Magazine next on the Ohio News Network.
It's almost time for the inaugural 9.71 The Race.
Sponsored by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center.
Run, walk, have a beer with Common Man. Whatever strikes your fancy. Sign up today at 971therace.com.
There's a new way to surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and Market District. Shop Giant Eagle's uncompromising quality at a reliable price with everyday savings. Look for signs throughout the store to find bargains on produce, meat, and more. Visit Giant Eagle to see how easy it is to save.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Two guys drove to work. Neither guy wore a seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. The same two guys drove home. One guy wore a seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. The guy not wearing his seatbelt didn't. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. It's that time of year where your cooling costs are going to go up because you're trying to cool off your house, but the air is escaping out of your inefficient windows. So get them replaced with Window Nation's efficient windows that'll help you save money on your heating and cooling bills. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows free, plus a free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows. No money down, no interest, no monthly payments until 2027, plus a lifetime warranty from Window Nation. 866-90-NATION to get your estimate today or windownation.com.
What John Smiley, Chairman and CEO, wants you to know about First Bank of Central Ohio.
Our competitive advantage is the number of years we've been in Central Ohio and the fact that we're able to make decisions here locally that make sense for the client. At the end of the day, it's the ability for us to say, okay, what can we do to make your banking easier for you?
Experience what it's like to be first at fbcentralohio.com. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Sunday, we're back to the sunshine. Highs into the 70s here for the afternoon. And then looking ahead to a big warm-up as highs reach the 80s going into next week. I'm meteorologist Aaron White with your 10 weather impact forecast here on 97.1 The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination. This is ONN.
The Ohio State football team will begin the 2025 season on Saturday, August 30th, hosting the University of Texas at Ohio Stadium in Columbus. It was announced earlier this week that game will be a noon kickoff on August 30th. This is also likely the last year with a 12-team college football playoff, as the playoff committee is very interested in expanding to 16 teams in 2026. Tony Petitti is the commissioner of the Big Ten. Greg Sankey is the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference. And both are driving the conversation towards a 16-team college football playoff with 4 automatic bids given to teams in their respective conferences. There's also talk that the 18-team Big Ten could sign a scheduling agreement to play in a home-and-home series with a different SEC school every 2 years. The scheduling agreement, playoff expansion, and an extra conference game were discussed at SEC meetings earlier this week down in Destin, Florida. Paul Feinbaum covers college football and the Southeastern Conference for ESPN. He joined Bo Bishop earlier this week on ONN affiliate WBNS FM in Columbus. Paul says the other power conferences, the Big 12 and the Atlantic Coast Conference, along with those that make up the group of 6, aren't too thrilled with the Big 10 and the SEC throwing the weight around when it comes to the changing of college football.
There's a lot of media, and I interviewed enough of them, and you know them as well, who just can't handle this moment in time. And it's not the arrogance of me being on the SEC network or you covering Ohio State, but let me put it bluntly. The Big Ten and the SEC don't need the rest of these guys. No. And I think if the other commissioners tick him and Petitti off enough, they may just say, we'll do what we want. I mean, they really do not need the rest of college football right now.
No, they don't. And anything they do, I think, is charitable at this point. And I know some people don't like to hear that, but that's the reality, that if you have those 2 conferences and the brands that are represented, you really don't need anything else. And so that's why when you hear about these conversations, one of the things I want to ask you about was a lot of this momentum for this 5+11. Be honest with you, Paul, 5+11, 4-4, 2-2, 1-3, whatever. Like the SEC and the Big Ten are going to have a minimum of 4, 5, and 6 teams in a 16-team playoff. That's just the minimum requirement, is it not?
It is, and the key word Sankey used yesterday with us, we don't need unanimity. Bo, he still ticked off about the alliance a couple of years ago, which the Big Ten was involved with, but with a different commissioner. And that's why the Petitti alignment is so important. And the Stuart Mandells of the world and their friends, but they can take all the shots they want. Sankey just doesn't care. He's got enough problems in his own conference, and one of the big stories going into this week was Sankey wanted them to move to 9 games versus 8 conference games, and I know the Big Ten does as well. The problem is until the CFP is done, they can't do that. It's tied directly to the CFP expansion.
Oh, well, that part of it will be that's a very notable part. Paul, the other thing that what you talk about, whatever this playoff is going to look like going forward, the other thing that I noticed, and I think it was Chris Del Conte, the athletic director at Texas, mentioned this. There's all of this talk that the media wants to run with in terms of how much everybody's paying for teams, and we dealt with it here. Anytime Ohio State was on television last fall, it was, it's a $20 million roster. Never mind, it was probably more. And by the way, there's probably a dozen teams that were kind of in that world. And the thing that I told Ohio State, and I told this to Ryan when he was on our show several times, I'm like, man, be Real Madrid. Like, own it. Like, yeah, we spent this money on the roster. This is the sport now. And it feels like they're starting to get people coming around on that a little bit down there.
They are. I was with Kirby Smart, I guess it was Tuesday, and he makes it clear to anybody. He said, I want the players to make money. He knows he's sending a message to everyone.
Yeah.
So that's where they are. I mean, it's still. You have to sit there and you listen to the Arkansas coach and the Mississippi State coach, and they get a vote, but it's like, come on now already. And by the way, there's still some resentment inside the SEC in total about the Big Ten alignment. Although Brian Kelly, you heard what he said yesterday. Bring it on, and that's really. The cream of the SEC and the Big Ten are going to make this happen. The rest of them are just going to have to live with it because they're still collecting the checks.
Paul, you mentioned the Brian Kelly stuff. I talked about that in the previous segment of a scheduling partnership. The one thing that kind of jumps out is, boy, if that happens, you want to talk about squeezing the Notre Dames of the world because they're kind of and others as well. But like all of a sudden you're playing 9 conference games in the Big Ten and the SEC, and then you have a non-conference game against the other. There's not a whole lot of room left for those other conferences, which of course I'm fine with.
I understand, and you're right. Notre Dame gets, and the ACC is very vulnerable too because Florida plays Florida State, Georgia Tech, Kentucky, Louisville, South Carolina, Clemson. They're all trying to protect those. But if this thing keeps going down the road, there's no way you can play a 9-game conference schedule plus maybe a Big Ten team and then still play a big rival. That is going to be done. That's the real threat the SEC has as well as the Big Ten. Notre Dame, the loser on one side, the ACC devastated on the other.
I'll get you out of here on this one, my friend. I know it's been a busy couple of weeks for you and really greatly appreciate your time. Was there a comment or a conversation that you had with a coach that was maybe illuminating in terms of how they view the sport at the moment or what is most critical to them?
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is I actually had a football conversation, which was hard to have, and I bring it up because of the opening game of the season. But privately, talking to Steve Sarkisian, I mean, he said publicly this is the best roster I have. Privately, he doubled down on that.
Okay.
So I really, I mean, I don't need to hype the game any more than it's already getting. But the Texas people are licking their chops, waiting for this season to begin.
We'll be back with more Ohio Sports Magazine next on the Ohio News Network.
Austin and Berm are back with a new daily podcast, the ultimate OSU Football Insiders. You know it's refreshing to have some smart people working here from time to time.
The Beat with Austin and Berm on the 10 TV Plus app.
Subscribe today.
All your favorite summer flavors are a good deal better at Meijer. Great for the grilled prime cuts of fresh from Meijer pork shoulder butt roast or buy one get one free. Assorted varieties of General Mills mid-size cereals are $1.99 each. Tender bulk sweet corn is $5 for $2. And select varieties of Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce or marinade and Ken's dressing are all $2 for $5. Take time to enjoy the chillin' by the grill good life all summer long with Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, it's that time of year again.
What time is that?
The time all the air conditioners start breaking down.
Oh, that time. Yep, every year.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Like a swarm of bees. They all get together in a coordinated effort.
You mean the Queen air conditioner tells them all to break down?
Nah, they just get tuckered out in the heat, Aaron. Can we handle all the calls?
Sure, we have a swarm of highly trained coolness experts standing by.
Get Eco.
ECO. And we have $3.5 million in new service trucks to get them there the day you call.
The same day? Well, what if you don't call until...
We'll come as late as you'll stay up to let us in. Same day.
That explains all the revving engines.
It's like a beehive of activity, Jerry.
Do you know I invented that weird Scoopy thing you serve honey with?
You should invent something for ketchup, Jerry. It's America.
Ooh, now that's an idea.
Get Eco.
ECO. GetEco.com.
Sun, splashes, and nonstop fun await at Zoombezi Bay.
Get your 2025 season pass for unlimited thrills,
including our all-new conservation tower. Buy now at ZoombeziBay.com.
Save big money on protecting your garden now at Menards. Messina's Animal Stopper is a liquid repellent that prevents animals from damaging your garden. Available in a convenient, ready-to-use bottle. It lasts for up to 30 days, regardless of weather and watering. Save big money on Messina's Animal Stopper at Menards. And check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Open a money market account at Kemba Financial Credit Union and enjoy a 4.00% APY intro rate until April 2026, 6 times the national average. Maintain easy access to your funds and secure financial stability. Don't miss out. Offer expires July 31st, 2025. Visit Kemba.org. Restrictions apply. Advantage status and $5,000 minimum and $1 million maximum deposit required. APY equals annual percentage yield. Comparison based on FDIC average. Federally insured by NCUA.
This summer, elevate your backyard barbecue game with Napoleon Grills from Billiards Plus in Dublin. Experience the power of Napoleon's infrared sizzle zone, reaching up to 1,800 degrees in just 30 seconds for that perfect steakhouse sear. Stay connected with the Napoleon Home app. Monitor up to 3 temperature probes, all from your smartphone. Built to last with premium steel, the grilling season never ends with Napoleon Grills from Billiards Plus. Visit Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin and transform your patio into a gourmet grilling paradise.
The Roofing Guys are your locally owned, trusted family business right here in Central Ohio. They've been hammering quality and service through the roof for over 25 years, offering professional services in roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Contact them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Federal Elite Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Now back to Ohio Sports Magazine on the Ohio News Network. Once again, here's Jay Fox.
It's time to discuss Cincinnati Reds baseball and hear from Stephen Offenbaker of Locked On Reds with our Paul Keels.
It is time to talk with Steve Offenbaker from the Locked On Reds podcast. If you haven't checked it out, you must, especially if you're a Reds fan. Steve, this past week we've seen the Reds take 2 of 3 in Kansas City over the Royals. I guess the feeling was kind of a good one considering how the Cubs series went the previous weekend, eh?
Yeah, if you look at that Cubs series, it's very easy to be discouraged. But if you take a deeper look, the Reds led in all of those games. The bullpen was really the problem there. But the offense really started showing signs of life. That carried over to Kansas City, and the pitching staff did their job as well. They won 2 of 3. I think it was a good momentum builder.
Yeah, that pitching staff certainly did, led by what Nick Martinez did in the opening game. Steve, we talked a lot last year about when the Reds acquired him, not knowing the role he would fill. Boy, he really has filled it nicely, hasn't he?
He has. He's really leaned into being a starter, and I think it's been good for him to have that stability and know what he was going to be doing. He's going deeper and deeper into games. He had some trouble early on getting that third time through the lineup. He would struggle, but he seems to be better at that of late. I like what he's been able to do, and he's been a pretty stabilizing force in that rotation this season.
Is it safe to say that going deeper in these games kind of helps minimize any of the concerns, Steve, about the bullpen, especially the middle portion of it?
It helps a little bit. Jeff and I have talked about on Locked On Reds that there's 2 groups out in that bullpen. There's an A group and a B group, and the A group has struggled lately. Those are your back end of the game guys, your closer, your 8th inning guys. So Graham Ashcraft has had problems. Emilio Pagan has started to struggle a little bit. Tony Santillan had a couple bad outings. I think those things, that's just a natural part of being a relief pitcher, and I think they'll sort themselves out. But the starters going deeper helps to be able to use that B group, that group that's not as good, use them correctly. And I think that just helps the team overall.
Does that mean the A group and the B group are pretty flexible as far as changing back and forth, Steve?
There's a couple bridge guys, but it's not because there's a market fall off when you go to that B group. The Reds need for Ashcraft and Pagan and Santillan to really be those A group guys and have their stuff each time they go out there.
What is it that you've thought about what we've seen from Brady Singer this year, Steve?
Brady Singer's had some recent struggles, but overall he's been the guy that we thought we were getting from Kansas City in that deal for Jonathan India. This Reds rotation needed somebody that could come in and be a stabilizing guy, a little bit of experience that just goes out there every 5th day and does his thing and is healthy, and you can rely on him to be available. That's who Brady Singer is. And he's been pretty good. So I think that he was as advertised coming over in that deal.
Yeah, I think so, especially in that performance he had against his former team. How about Elly De La Cruz with what he did in Kansas City this week, Steve?
It's about time, right? We've been waiting for Elly to be Elly, and finally we got a series where he sparked. And I hope that that's just a sign of things to come. We had been talking about him last week that, his numbers were just a league average guy. He had a 100 OPS plus, so that's league average. He's got a 1 as far as wins above replacement goes when we were talking about it. Nothing earth-shattering. A fine player, but not that superstar we all expect and need him to be for this team. It was nice to see him catch fire, crush a couple baseballs, his home run totals on the way up. Now we just got to get him stealing some bases, and things will be right.
Yeah. Tyler Stevenson and T.J. Friedl, are they kind of starting to fall into that category, catching fire a little bit in your mind, Steve?
Absolutely. T.J. Friedl's hitting 300 right now at the top of this lineup. I've always questioned that I don't know who T.J. Friedl is. Is he the guy that was 2 seasons ago a world beater, or is he the guy that's just hurt all the time and gives you average numbers? Looks like he's actually somewhere in between, and if that in between is a 300 hitter at the top of the lineup that's healthy all the time, I will take that all day long. Friedl has been great. And then Tyler Stevenson. I think we were a little hard on him when he came back off of his injury. He really didn't get a spring training. What we witnessed was him having spring training at the major league level, and he struggled to get his timing. He struggled to get right, but we've seen him find it now that he's had enough at-bats and enough time. And, he was last game of that Kansas City series, 3 for 4 with 3 singles. He's seeing the ball well. He's putting the bat on the ball, and he's going to be just fine.
Within the last 3 weeks, what we've seen from Will Benson at the plate, is that a sign of a guy that maybe is finding some consistency?
I don't know what to make of Will Benson because he's tricked me before into thinking that he's finally arrived. So I'm trying to keep my expectations measured. But it's definitely, him being on the team adds to kind of a different vibe, a different energy. And if he can continue to perform, I don't even need him to hit lefties, Paul. If he can just hit the right-handed pitchers when he's asked to be out there, he's a useful guy. He's good on defense, and he helps this team, this outfield group that is not good all the time.
No, he does help there. What did you make of the move getting Garrett Hampson into the Reds system here, Steve?
You know, it was kind of a head scratcher for me. Jeff and I both reacted, to each other by text. Like, can they not just go get a regular outfielder? Does it have to be somebody that just plays everywhere every time? But Hampson brings speed. He's had some good at bats, and this team really likes to be disruptive on the base pass, and I think he brings that. He's also pretty good defensively. I mean, he plays everywhere. So it really just helps that Terry Francona be flexible as he's making lineups. We've seen Hampson take a day at shortstop so Ellie could DH as an example. I think he just is going to help guys be able to get some rest, at least defensively, and can keep them in the lineup as a DH.
Gotcha. Steve Offenbaker from the Locked On Reds podcast. We encourage everybody to check you and Jeff Carr out, and thank you as always for your time, Steve.
All right, thanks a lot, Paul.
We'll be back with more Ohio Sports Magazine next on the Ohio News Network.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
As this school year comes to a close, please join me in thanking the dedicated teachers and education support professionals who have poured their hearts into their students every day this year to give them what they need to succeed. We have to turn our appreciation into action. Contact your lawmakers today and tell them to support our public schools.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Got a teen athlete? Then you know putting in the hours is all part of the game. But did you know the same goes for learning how to drive? Because just like playing a sport, learning to drive takes practice. The only difference is the stakes are even higher. 50 hours of practice time driving with you? Worth every minute. Gear up at teachyourteentodrive.ohio.gov.
Proper tree care is an investment that can lead to substantial returns and increased personal enjoyment. Hiring a certified arborist can help care for your trees and add considerable value to your property. Inspections by Ohio ISA certified arborists can often find and mitigate tree defects before they fail. Only professionals with specialized knowledge and training are properly equipped to provide appropriate care. To find an arborist, visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move, a pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Now back to Ohio Sports Magazine on the Ohio News Network. Once again, here's Jay Fox.
Now, let's get some highlights from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Here's producer Colin Behringer to set the scene.
Thanks, Jay. This week on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, Dustin Fox joins the guys to discuss the rookie quarterback he believes will win the starting job and potentially win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
It's going to be the story amongst all the NFL headlines going into the regular season. Shedeur Sanders wins the starting quarterback job in Cleveland, okay? And nobody's thinking that the Browns are going to be able to do anything this year. However, this guy comes in and he takes them to a 10-win season. 10 wins.
That would be sweet.
As a rookie. Very similar to what happened last year with Daniels in Washington. and he wins offensive MVP, Rookie of the Year, I should say. I don't even think the numbers would matter. I think if he starts the season and they win, like I said, 10 games, 9 games, whatever, push for the playoffs, and it's all everyone's seeing and talking about, I think that would put him in the category to win that award.
To catch the full breakdown, just search the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on YouTube, subscribe to their page, and enjoy daily content covering all things Cleveland sports. We'll be back to wrap up this week's Ohio Sports Magazine when we continue on the Ohio News Network.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app, or listen at home on your smart speaker, or open up the iHeartRadio app, or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the Dopes at The Fan.
Common Man here. I want to talk to you about my buddy Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. It's rare that a business comes along and offers you such great quality, service, price. If you or someone you love or like, or even strangers on the street tell you they need a jeweler, tell them you got a guy, and that guy is Bob Capace at Worthington Jewelers.
I'm Bob Capace, and I'm your guy.
Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington, worthingtonjewelers.com, where Columbus gets engaged.
What does it mean to live here, serve here in the Ohio Army National Guard?
It means I can attend college full-time and not have to take out student loans to pay for my tuition.
It means I can work my civilian job during the week and support my state and nation in times of need.
You too can live here, serve here as a member of the Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with full-time benefits at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard in coordination with the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone for Window Nation. Beat the heat with Window Nation's semi-annual sale. Buy 4 windows and get 4 windows free, plus a free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows, plus no money down, no interest, and no monthly payments until 2027. That's a whole lot of savings and a super smart investment when prices are going up. Their windows also come with a lifetime warranty, so you'll keep saving long into the future. Hurry, the sale ends soon. Don't wait to get your estimate. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
When you're a AAA member, we do the hard stuff for you. So picture this. You're taking a road trip through the mountains at night, and you run out of gas. Do you, A, call AAA, or B, walk 29 miles to the nearest gas station in the pouring rain?
A?
On the plus side, get more with AAA. Go to AAA.com/plus side.
I've had a number of surgeries, and frankly, I don't have time to rehab a surgery and an operation at this point in my life. I didn't want to take time off my kids' activities.
That's why former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter turned to QC Kinetics. We couldn't be happier saving our patients like him from operating rooms and long recoveries.
They will resume like normal activity for me, which is a lot of running. It's a lot of workouts. I've been very, very blessed with how it's been able to hold up.
For so long, patients have accepted surgery as the only solution. But with new technologies, the medical professionals at QC Kinetics use regenerative treatments, your body's own biologics, to help heal and restore knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
I actually ran into a friend of mine over at our golf course, and he had his knee done. It felt so well. He'd got his shoulder done. He goes, I can't thank you enough. He'd heard the commercial on the air, and so it's feeling great.
Find out how you can avoid surgery and finally get relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. Now back to Ohio Sports Magazine on the Ohio News Network. Once again, here's Jay Fox.
Thank you to Jim Clemens, Holly Rowe, and Neil Sika for being guests on this week's Ohio Sports Magazine. Thanks to all of our Locked On podcast contributors this week as well. For Colin Behringer, Eric Reeser, and Paul Keels, I'm Jay Fox. Thanks for listening to Ohio Sports Magazine, and join us next week right here on the Ohio News Network.